Hey everyone, today we're framing the floor for an 8 by 12 shed. If you've been following along, we just built the pad, now it's time to start building the shed itself. We're gonna be building our shed flooring on top of 4 by 4 skids. But before we start, we wanna make sure that these 4 by 4s are leveled and pretty squared.
Also, we build the shed on top of skids so we can move it if we have to. On these 4x4 skids, I always like to cut an angle off the end of each, in case I need to slide them back and forth. And remember, anytime you cut pressure treated lumber, you need to treat it again. After cutting all 4 ends, make sure the skid is level and squared. And if you remember, when we built our pad, it was a foot longer than the shed itself. So we used that foot measurement to start our starting points for the skid. Then you do the same on the other side. And just keep in mind that you may have to remove some material to make sure the skids are leveled. We grab the two 12-foot ledger boards and place them on top of the skids.
Alright, so our shed is going to be 8 by 12. And these 12 foot ledger boards, they are actually 12 foot 1 1/8. So we need to make sure we cut this back to 12 feet.
And after you cut out the ledger boards, you want to add a toenail to the end of each ledger. This toenail is just to secure the ledger to the skid while you keep assembling the floor.
And now it's time for the joists. So we are using here tongue and groove subflooring. And actually, because of the tongue and the groove of the subflooring, it's not actually 48 inches wide. It's actually 47 and a half. So if you take 47 and a half times 2, it's going to be 2 lengths of boards going down. That's 95 inches. So what we do is we got to measure 95 inches on example here, one of these joists. We take 95 minus inch and a half of the outside ledger board, right? Minus inch and a half of the other side of the ledger board. So we are at 92 inches. We're gonna need to cut these boards to 92 inches and then put them in the middle.
We measure two joists to 92 inches and we cut them. We place one on the front of the framing and one on the back. When securing down these joists, I like to add 3 nails to each of them. The 3 nails should be sufficient to keep this box secure while we keep installing the center joists. We have 8 remaining joists that needs to be cut, and we do the same on all of them. Remember, 92 inches in length. And as always, make sure to retreat the end of each joist. It's nice if you keep this nearby, so every time you make a cut, you can quickly grab it. We place the joist in the center, 16 inches apart from each other. And the reason for the 16 inches is that every floor sheeting will start on a joist and end on a joist. From here on, I use two 3-inch nails per joist. If you don't have a nail gun, you can use 3-inch screws instead. Just remember, you can always check the description below the video. We will continue to share the whole material list with you, also with the plans for this project to help you out when it's your time to build your shed. And before we start sheeting this floor, I just want to mention that I do add couple toenails for every other bay. That's to make sure that these joists don't move against the skids. And then we check the square of this frame. You can check by doing the 3-4-5 rule, or you can check by measuring the opposite corners. Whichever corner is longer, you just need to tap it in. You measure one corner and you move to the other corner. You want the same measurement on both.
And now that we've done framing our flooring, it's time to put the sheeting. And before we put the sheeting, I always use some adhesive along the joists, and we'll screw down the sheeting with 2-inch construction screws.
For this floor, I use 2 tubes of construction adhesive. They do make adhesive specifically for subflooring if you decide to go that route. When laying down the OSB, try not to move too much, or you may end up removing the adhesive you just added. I use number 8 2-inch grip right construction screws on the floor, placing them about 12 inches apart from each other, which means 4 screws per row. For the second OSB, I stagger the pattern of the first one and screw it down just like we talked about. These boards come marked which side should be facing up. Make sure to follow that. And lastly, the third OSB, we need to cut it, and it should be pretty close to half. I screw it down first, then I snap a string so I see where I need to cut, and the remainder half, I use it on the back side. You lay that down carefully and screw it down like we talked, and you are done.
Now that the floor is built for 8x12 shed, it's time to build the walls. And if you think this project is something you want to tackle, check the description below. We have plans, material list, all kind of information that helps you build the project yourself in an easier manner. I hope you learned something in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.